I'd like to welcome you to Builder Wadley. Builder Wadley in Kaurna language is Possum House, and this is where Tycoman and Sherman started their school in December 1839 on this site. And this monument is built in recognition of their work that they've done here for Kaurna people, teaching Kaurna language as early as that in this state.
I'm Chester Schultz and descended from another one of those illegal migrants who jumped ship at Port Adelaide in 1865. I do place names research for the Kaurna people here through KWP, and here I am at Builder Wadley, which is home of the possum, the native location and school. Over there is the River Torrens, Karawirapari, named after the Kara, the red gum. This was a red gum, but of course they grew much bigger than this, and there was a whole forest of them round about here, but they were all cut down for firewood, of course, very early on. Over further behind the big buildings is Tandanyanga, place of the red kangaroo rock, Tanda the red kangaroo. And there aren't very many more place names known immediately around here, but a bit further afield there are some. We have Gowandilla, a few miles away that way, in the north, because the lady who gave us that name came from further south. This was to her in the north, and this river here was probably a clan boundary. So here we are in the middle of the remnants of what was cut down but has still survived.
Greetings from Builder Wadley, here in the heart of Adelaide, the capital city of South Australia. Builder, the brush-tail possum. Wadley, home or house. This was known to the colonists as the native location. It was a 14-acre area set aside for Aboriginal people in the early days of the colony, 1837. This is where Christian Tycoman and Clement Sherman lived and worked with Kaurna people. They documented the language. They set up a school here, and they did a very, very good job in recording the language for the time, back in the 19th century. It's those records now that Kaurna people are using to reclaim and revive their language, to reintroduce it, teach it in schools, use it in public, use it at home for their own purposes. So, greetings from Adelaide. Dankeschön.
Hello people, welcome from my country and hello to yours, because this is the beginning, this place is the beginning of a first journey for my people, the Kaurna people. The first schooling, you can see that all the people who love learning are warriors, and that's what this place represents, because it's the beginning of that journey. I became the principal of another journey for the Aboriginal people in Kaurna Plains. But this was the beginning, and this is where it all started, and we were just so passionate about language, and that's why we reclaimed it.
My name is Bodney Tandanyan Uncle. I Jack Ganya Goodlow been a good noise buckskin. I tang with the Ghana meal. I water Ghana Yama Ghana Yatanga Kuma. So my name's Vincent Buckskin, but everybody just knows me as Jack. My Aboriginal name is Ganya, which means rock, and Goodlewitpina means I'm the father of a swan. My daughter's name is a swan. It's a name that we derive from our children. All of this stuff was documented by Tycoman and Sherman back in the 1800s when they had the school down here at Builder Wadley. So I use Kaurna language because I'm a teacher, but I don't just use it in a teaching environment, I use it at home. I've got a daughter who's 6 weeks old now, starting to use a fair bit of language with her as well. I try and use as much language as possible, and I'm now teaching it to well over 100, 200 students. Most of them are non-Indigenous students. I teach at the Aboriginal schools, so a lot of Aboriginal schools with a bit of culture as well. But mainly with our goal is to teach as many people in the wider community as much language. So it can be eventually the language of the Adelaide Plains again. So yeah, that's about it.
She married in 1848 and she was the first to marry a European, Tom Adams. And so that was our beginning of cross-cultural marriage. And so it started me on a journey of history of Kaurna people in the state. And then from that I went into the Heritage Committee, starting to protect our sites, because you should build on certain places and you should have open spaces and you should have places for people. And so that's why I got involved in heritage. And then from there it led me on to the language group, an interest in language again, because I learned some words on the mission where I grew up. But then we started Kaurna Warrapinchindi, and from there we've developed into a regular meeting every month where we're on about revival of language and reclamation of language, which we are today, and that's why we're recording this about our places and our sites, and so we can leave something for our young people to develop and build on. Natalia.
The spot where we're at now is probably the site of Clemmer Sherman's house, where he lived from 1838 through till 1840. After that he went over to Port Lincoln. We can still see a bit of rubble in the ground here. It was around here somewhere, so it was probably about this spot, down here at Pildawadley.
Up here we got right near Tykeman's house is a shield that's cut out in a tree. We call them a mullabaka. You can see that point here. And if you come up close, there's a bit of dust here, so you can tell there's a birdie in here, a little grub, a witchetty grub. There's a few holes in here where you can see all different marks. So the birdies will just go into here, where you can see they must be up here somewhere in this hole, because all the dust has come down into these grooves here.
Buki alakiana, karo wirapari, natapari trunga kudna mapa buto pindi mio budniacha mio kumbiti. Pana yako pari kangandi pari purajia pendadru umangka. For 40,000 years or more, we've kept the Torrens clean. Look at it now, it's worse than it's ever been. Oh, when the Nungas lost possession and the settlers took control. Slowly the fish and the wildlife started losing their homes. For 40,000 years or more, the Torrens was crystal clear. Look at it now, it's dirtier than it's ever been. Oh, when the settlers took possession and pollution took a hold. Slowly the fish and the wildlife started losing their own. For 40,000 years or more, the Torrens sang a song. Listen to it now, it sings a dirge all day long. Oh, if the people take possession and the government take control. The fish and all the wildlife will stop losing their own. For 40,000 years or more, the water was safe to drink. Now the taste will kill you or you'll die from the stink. Oh, if the government don't do nothing, then the river's gonna die. And all the fish and the wildlife just won't survive. Buki alakiana, taro wirapari, natapari tunga kudna